Our poll about who the dumbest Democrat is continues to go neck and neck, and it's en fuego. In fact, the clip is maybe I'll force Kevin and maybe intern Quinn to put the link in the show description here, so you can watch and contribute to the vote there. Who is the dumbest Democrat? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is getting a lot of love in that comment section. And, well, she delivered even better this weekend. She had a sit-down interview with NPR. She's totally running for president, isn't she? Here, let's listen to the wisdom of AOC. And while you watch this, I just throw it out there. Is she expecting a baby? She's recently married. And if she, by the, I mean, I am so overjoyed. I think that she will totally sort of, being a mother, being a parent changes you. It changes your perspective on life. And I think it would be a good thing. I'm hoping it's true. There's a lot of rumors out there that she's expecting. That you judge for yourself. I understand your reluctance to make that announcement until you know everything is happy and healthy. But if that's the case, we here are very much in support of people having babies. We like babies. We want more of them. And even if the baby's mother is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because you know, politics isn't genetic. So every baby has the hope of being a freedom-loving capitalist American, even AOC's kid. All right, so that's an aside, though. Let's take a look at this interview with NPR.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
So she's using weasel words here, but you can see right through it, right? All of my constituents. Now, it's interesting when we conduct our census in America to determine representation in the House of Representatives, we count non-citizens to determine the population of said districts and whether a state should be redistricted to afford for more representation or not. In fact, a lot of people believe that the influx of illegal immigrants into this country and flooding various areas like New York and Chicago and California is to replenish the population of those states from all of the people who have left because they hate the Democrat leadership in that state, right? They've gone to other states like Florida and Texas, and their representation in the House of Representatives have increased. Meanwhile, very blue states like New York, Illinois, and California, they have begun to lose seats because so many people have left in droves those states. And so there are people who believe that this influx of illegal immigrants and relocation to those places is to bolster the population so they don't lose more seats in the House of Representatives. So my point is to determine how many representatives you get allocated in any state, they count everyone who lives there, whether they are citizens or not, whether they're legal residents or not. Right. Now, this actually has its roots back in, as so many things in our country do when it comes to how our Constitution works and the rules that we have here. It actually goes back to slavery. This goes all the way back to the 3/5 rule or something, because they were determining the House of Representatives and the makeup of the representatives, and the southern states, you know, the Democrats who owned slaves, they wanted to count the enslaved Africans that had been brought over here, you know, and it was determined, okay, well, this is how we'll do that. Right. And it's just sort of maintained and stayed. Now, what's interesting is she is factual in that the makeup of her district includes non-citizens and illegal non-citizens. But are they constituents? See, I would think an actual constituent that you represent is someone who can vote for you, which would mean a legal citizen. Now, maybe I'm splitting hairs here. Maybe I'm playing semantics. Maybe she's playing semantics. But you saw how carefully she answered that question when the interviewer at NPR whose salary you and I pay for, and I can't tell you how much I love paying the salary of a competitor. You know, somebody I am helping to subsidize the salary of someone else who does a podcast. Awesome. I feel great about that. When he presses her on this about, Homan says that you are giving advice to people who are in this country illegally on how they can circumvent the law and avoid incarceration. And here's her answer again. Watch how carefully she answers it.
There are constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally.
Mhm.
Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you
Mhm.
heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry. And are you going to do it?
What would you learn? What do you hope to learn from that exchange?
I think it's important to know where this administration stands and if they intend on using political intimidation to silence their critic.
What a scintillating interviewer that is that we are paying for. But I don't know if that would have been my follow-up question. But if you're breaking the law and the Justice Department is investigating you for breaking the law, first of all, I don't know if they're required to tell you one way or the other if you are under investigation. Not sure about that. But that doesn't mean it's intimidation, political intimidation against one of your critics. By the way, speaking of political intimidation, she's a congresswoman. She's one of 435 people who control the budget and appropriations of federal funds to agencies in the executive branch. When she picks it's not like, can you pick up the phone and call the attorney general? Do you have that power? Can you pick up the phone and ask federal lawyers and investigators whether you're under federal investigation or not? No, that's a pretty privileged thing that she's able to do. And when you're one of the 435 people who actually fund that department, there's kind of an implied intimidation there, isn't there? Isn't there an implied threat? Yeah, this is a member of the House of Representatives. We vote on your budget. We vote on appropriating money for your salary and your operations. Just want to know if you're investigating me for a crime or not. Sure would be a shame for me to vote on your budget and your salary based on whether I'm being investigated or not. So just let me know, okay? Get back to me by the end of the week. Thanks. You see what she's doing here. So she's suggesting that she's the one who's being targeted and that the Trump administration is using inappropriate and illegal political tactics against her because she's a critic. But in fact, she's the one who is doing just that. But she demands to know whether she's being investigated or not.
We have a problem on immigration because of the lack of progress that we've had on this issue. And as we know, Republicans weaponize that lack of progress. Of course, there was famously a bipartisan bill last year that the Republican majority in the Senate and also in the House were willing to pass. President Biden was willing to work with them on it. And Donald Trump said, do not solve this problem. As long as it is broken, then it will be politically beneficial for us. And so it is a problem not just for Democrats, it's a problem for the entire country that Republicans do not want to solve any sort of issue with immigration. They are completely uninterested in addressing undocumented people, in addressing a path to citizenship.
Well, they do want to address undocumented people by removing them. I mean, that's what the president is attempting.
Yeah, that's a fine follow-up there from our NPR interviewer, but he allowed the other lies to take place. So let me jump in here. I'm not taking a paycheck that's subsidized by taxpayers, but I think I'm qualified. I am so sick and tired of this lie that continues to be repeated. The American people didn't buy it in the election, and they're not buying it now, but AOC and the Democrats and the media and their pals there at NPR, they have nothing else. We kept hearing this over and over again last year during the campaign. Trump doesn't want to solve the border problem. He stopped the border bill for political purposes because he wanted to have the issue for the election. Biden said it, Harris said it, and people in the media said it. It's a lie. It's a complete lie. Trump said, If you sign that bill, you're tying the hands of the next president. You're actually locking the next president in from doing anything to legitimately secure the border. And Trump said, you can secure the border right now. You don't need a new law at all. It can be done. Biden and Kamala just refused to do it. And of course, they claimed, oh, that's not true. Oh, we'd love to secure the border. We'd love to fix the problem. The problem that they denied was even occurring for 3.5 years. They only acknowledged that there was a problem on the border with our national security and with our immigration policies on the border when they looked at the calendar and realized that there was a presidential election coming up. So then they said, okay, hey, yeah, it's a problem. It's definitely a crisis. But the only way we can fix it is with a new legislation. We need this bipartisan bill, bipartisan bill, bipartisan bill. Well, the bill doesn't happen. The election does happen. The American people weren't buying those lies. Trump wins. Trump gets into office, and on day one, he says, okay, we're not asking for a new law. We don't want a new law. We'll take our existing laws, and now we're going to secure the border. And boy, oh boy, look what's happened. Look what's happened in the last 5 weeks. I think I saw a report the other day that border crossings one day last week was down to like 350, like for the whole border. 350 illegal crossings that were apprehended, and you've got deportations going on. They never needed the bill. They never, and Trump never said, don't pass this bill because I want to have the issue for the election. He said, if you pass that bill, then I won't actually be able to secure the border because it ties the hands of the next president with all of these new restrictions and and thank God they didn't pass it. Clearly, he didn't need a new bill. Biden said we need a new bill. We can't secure the border without a new law. Kamala can't secure the border without a new law. The media can't secure the border without a new law. And Trump stopping the law. Trump says, no, this new law will keep me from securing the border. We don't want a new law. Keep the law as it is. When I become president, I'll secure the border. And look what's happened. It's a complete and total lie. And she is lying about it. And they continue to lie about it because they have nothing but lies. But we deliver the facts.